Hello friends, welcome to Akulmach Live and I'm Chandrakant. We are all working from home and because of that, most of the workforce is now becoming a hybrid type of workforce, which is even the senior people have to work from home and they cannot go to office. And that is why the whole business scenario is changing rapidly. And that is a discussion that we want to have today with a very well-known global guru. Before we start our discussion, let me remind you there is a giveaway. Please stick around to this very important discussion today, and we will tell you in the end how you can claim your free gift. Welcome back, friends. And today's topic is about hybrid workforce. And to discuss this topic, I have a wonderful personality in our studios today. His name is Mr. Jeremy Blain, and he's CEO of Performance Works International, headquartered out of UK and Singapore. And he's also a best-selling author. So without further ado, let me invite Jeremy to the show.
Thank you very much, CK. Great to be on again.
Well, Jeremy, good to see you. And, after your book has become so popular, you have become a very busy man. How this celebrity status treating you nowadays?
Thank you very much. But it may look that way, but honestly, my life has not changed one bit. I've been really pleased with the uptake of the book. I think the topic really hits the theme for now in many organizations and using the power of our people. And that's been great, but it's also, as you know, is when you do something like this, keeping on top of it, and on the social media and all of this, it creates its own brand new workload on top of everything else. So,
Of course, because social media requires a lot of your time and attention, and it also forces you to be consistent with the time that you are spending there. So I think the discussion for us today is about learning how to get adjusted to the hybrid workforce environment. And this is more so to do with the development professional. So it's a very, very important subject. I'm sure you have a lot of data points on this.
Yeah, it is, because not only are our organizations transforming and we're finding new ways of working, and we're realizing now that many organizations are now opting for the hybrid work as their new normal, if you like. So there will be office workers, but there will be also remote workers and a blend of those. It's also giving a rise to asynchronous working. So not in the same structured way that we used to do it when everybody was in the office. Also, it's giving rise to welcoming a workforce that is potentially global, even for small organizations, as they look at blending permanent resources with the most appropriate independent resources. And therefore, the challenge for human capital professionals is what structure suits that from a workforce perspective. But one thing we're not hearing enough of, from my point of view, is what are the role of learning and development professionals now in understanding the new knowledge, skills, and behaviors that are going to be needed within the hybrid space for all of our workforce, and including all of the, not just the sharpening the existing toolkit, but the new things that we need to do and how they're delivered.
I think this is very important and critical. I think it requires a lot of attitude development and a lot of changes in your own approach. So do you have any opinion how we can actually bring about the attitude development, attitude towards hybrid workforce environment? What is that we need to do? I'd like to know from you.
So there are two aspects to this. The first is at organizational level. The organizational level mindset from a learning and development perspective is that we have to get out of old habits, the old, as I keep saying, the old 20th century way of delivering learning in our organizations. we're in the age of the consumerization of learning. So if you imagine TikTok and social platforms like that, and think about those of us with kids or, you know, teenagers, Gen Z who are using it, they're owning those platforms. They're creating content. They're learning from each other without even knowing it. So the consumerization of learning is putting learning in the hands of the individuals rather than solely at the hands of organizational level. So organizational attitude needs to reorientate to think about what does that mean for our workforce, wherever they are and whoever they are, for whether they're permanent, whether they're independent, etc. And how do we best support them to own it themselves while putting some structure behind it and putting some corporate elements in there that we might need, but in a much more flexible way than we used to. Once that's in place, that's when we can actually start to impact the attitude of the individual learners who may have seen it all before and said, you know, you've tried to change the way we've done this years ago and it's not happened. It's like, here we go again. But with a fundamental shift, there is the opportunity for great communication to bring people on board with it, engage, mobilize, and motivate individual contributors in this new approach for learning, one that they can own themselves largely and is fueled by the most appropriate digital platforms to enable them to do so.
Jeremy, in fact, there will be a new type of workforce, and this new type of workforce will require a new skill. So are there any mechanism to acquire these workforce? Because, you know, while on one occasion we can say, hey, hybrid workforce is out here for everyone of us to understand, accept, and leverage. But where I can get these hybrid work skills? Is there a place where we can attain all of those?
Well, it's a good point, and I've been a strong voice in our industry, the learning industry, for the last sort of 18 months, challenging other organizations, and not just in my own, to upgrade and do something different with the offering that we have, which is more appropriate for today. So, you know, and I have to put my money where my mouth is, you know, here as well. And so I've invested heavily in doing things that, and it's not just by the way the content that you need, it's the delivery mechanism and how you do things to put learning in the hands of the individuals rather than, if you like, you know, so that they can kind of pull things from there they want rather than us pushing everything towards it. So having the resources there. So, for example, I worked on the delivery side of things and doing things differently for, you know, mastering virtual classes, remote delivery. And I'm really pleased to say that we've won 2 global awards on this for the best remote training and virtual classes. And I've been shouting in the industry on social media, say, look, more needs to do the same. The more of us doing this, the more of us championing this, the better. So that's one aspect. And then the content is actually the first thing is not throwing away all of those trainings and all of those development areas that we've done in the past, because some of it is still very appropriate. But how do we add on to that the new knowledge, skills and behaviors that are appropriate today? So, for example, digital skills, how to operate in the virtual world, how to collaborate in remote teams, for example, how to manage remote teams, how to motivate a hybrid workforce. What does hybrid working look like, and what are the rules of the road to get on board with it, and what do we need to show you how to do? And on top of that, the non-traditional, if I call them non-traditional areas, but very, very present now, of course, what are the associated supportive trainings that we need to have in place, and safety infrastructures to allow people to step out, do it themselves, so that we're looking after the whole individual, not just the skill sets for their job role. So their well-being, their mental health, their inclusion in the team, how they feel part of the culture of the organization, be they permanent or independent workers. So I've been doing a lot of work on that, and I've been doing a lot of research on that. And that research has not only informed what I'm sharing with my clients and helping them evolve for their organization, but it's helping myself in terms of what are the products, solutions and services that we bring which are most appropriate for today. which are more attuned to both the organizations that still like a structured approach to learning and development and that suit them, but also suit individual contributors and individual learners who like to pull learning from different sources and access it in different ways through video, through reading, through classes sometimes as well, and through peer-to-peer learning as well. So there's lots more opportunity, and learning and development professionals, or traditional learning and development professionals, really, as you so rightly said, there is a big attitude shift that's needed first, but probably an upskilling ourselves as learning and development professionals. If it's anything like my learning curve over the last 18 months, it's pretty steep.
I second you over there, because it's not easy to accept the hybrid workforce immediately, because there are people who are very senior who spent a lot of time in the industry. They are basically not accepting the fact that the environment has changed, and that is why I think the courses like your company is offering are very, very important. I think there is a partnership opportunities here as well. If people want to partner and take those courses back into their own country, I think this is the future. I think it is very, very important to partner with Performance Works and Jeremy Blain to bring those those knowledge and those courses back to the rest of the world. And that brings me to the third question, which is about the tools required. Are we going to use any special tools to train people quicker and faster?
Yeah, so there's a few things, and I just respond to something that you just said there as well, and reinforcing this point that it's a huge attitudinal point, and it's not just about learning and development and human capital professionals. The most amount of work that I'm doing this at the moment are executive leadership sessions to help them understand how the workplace and workforce is changing and how leadership is changing to become more human-centered, community-focused, as well as upgraded from a business perspective around what competitive means in the modern workplace. So that is a big shift that's needed first, because many leaders don't understand that within the next 2 to 3 years, 50% of their workforce, for example, will be independent workers, but they're still part of your workforce. And while we might treat them more as an ad hoc project-based resource at the moment, what we need to do is have a more structured approach to them, to look at how we can include them as part of the team, how they can feel part of the culture and be part of the culture, how we can invest in them so that they feel valued and do more for us and be loyal as great independent workers, as much as the permanent employees that we have and those that we're trying to attract. So there's a big play at that level first. So I think as we're moving forward, we're within this, the kind of things that need to be in place are, first of all, we are in the Industry 4.0 era, and we need the most appropriate technologies that drive great collaboration, communication, and curation of learning. So it is going beyond the traditional learning systems and learning management systems and into an ecosystem mindset. So what are all of the connected things that we can bring together and house in the cloud? So many of the traditional LMS providers like Saba, for example, have moved to the cloud, moved app-based, bringing in more different aspects to it. But also you've got the integrators, as I might call them, like Open Sesame, who are bringing lots of different things together, and Udemy, BetterU, all of these things, lots of these different things together into one place to put it in the hands of the individual learners as much as the organization. I think that's a big key. But there is also no substitute for the human touch. So my big call here is to repurpose management away from supervision and performance management and back into coaching mindset and growth. So on the job coaching, through line managers, but also peer-to-peer and individual peer-to-peers learning is going to be just as important. And these can be done in short bursts. So while we might have the digital technologies and all of these different spaces, we can go for 5-minute podcasts, 15-minute videos, 2-minute quick skill sessions on everything. what is really going to be embedded if we don't have that supportive skills coaching behind it at a human level in the workplace to observe, feedback, demonstrate, build the skill. So that traditional element needs to come back and be refreshed for the modern workplace so that it supports this great consumerization of learning, which is being fueled by digital.
I think you made a very valid point, and the individual attention is very, very relevant even now. And that is when your company, your work, and your knowledge comes into the picture. So Jeremy, it was a great pleasure talking to you about this very, very critical subject, and we will catch up in the next show. Until then, I'd like to say goodbye.
Thank you very much for having me, CK. Goodbye.
We have some unique Akulmach memorabilia which will make you look outstanding. The graphics on these corporate gifts are based on the global best business practices. To become recipient of one of these gifts for free, you have to watch this video till the end and provide your valuable comments. Or you can also share your experiences. The person who makes the best comment would be chosen to become a recipient of this beautiful Akulmach gift, absolutely free, delivered to your doorsteps. The winner would also get a chance to be invited live as a distinguished panelist during our next video. What are you waiting for, friends? Please subscribe Akulmach and smash that like button.